Hey guys, hey guys, I just what if Deku had a dragon guardian at first, and before we begin Deku is not this is not a quirk at all. Like he will have a guard someone a his dragon guardian is just 3 years older than him, but the moment I'll just tell you guys in a little bit. Anyway, Ichigo, when Ichigo is born, Ichigo still has his freckles, but his eyes looks like that, and he has a little bit of scales that he has like tad bits of scales. Ichigo will have scales like these on his arms and legs, and a little bit on his around his head. Before we continue, let's get some back story on Ichiku's family. On notes to everybody in this century, Ichiku is a dragon, has dragon blood within him, which means he's technically part dragon. And there is no magic in this one. It's just natural energy. It's like nature. It's kind of like Naruto's nature energy, but it's just the energy of Earth that the dragons can absorb and use as what type of breath they have. And Ichiku is a part of a very old line of the dragons, which is the most powerful ones as well. And each member of that line would get someone to help them. If every member of that line would get someone that it was prophesied that one day there would be one descendant of the dragons that would bring them that if they would be almost extinct, that this child would help them bring them back to flourish, which this is gonna happen. Anyway, now that we're done with the background for Ichiku, let's get to when Ichiku is 1. When Ichiku is 1, he starts growing horns like these ones, and he has tiny versions of these, but they are a tiny bit larger than his body. Then we get to Ichiku when he's finally 4. I forgot to mention this, but Ichiku does not idolize any heroes. He just thinks, I just want to be the best hero I can be. Yeah. This is mainly because he doesn't feel like any of them could connect with him. But he does feel like someone out there is just like him. It's like something in his blood is telling him that. Now before I continue that, now we switch to a different person's perspective. This is a female, so this is what she looks like. We don't know her name yet, but what's back up 40 years ago when Izuku was born, and she goes like, he's finally been born. Eventually I'll need to find him, protect him from any danger. We need our kind to survive after all. Now we get back to the time when Izuku is 4 and she's and she is trying to find the location of where he is at. And she finds herself in a forest. Right now, this person is 2 years older than Izuku. And yes, and for this girl's line, she is able to remember every single member of this descendant of this line is able to remember every single all the memories of her ancestors, and her parents are either abandoned her because she was quirkless, or they just died somehow. And she's been in only Izuku, and Izuku will eventually get some memories of a certain dragon, but only this girl knows about his bloodline. Only her. And I don't have a name for her yet, but next part I probably will. Anyway, we get to Izuku wondering if this is truly a quirk or something else. Because something in his blood is telling him this is not a quirk. It's like repeating himself, repeating it, and it's like something in him is telling him over and over again, this is not a quirk. And by the time he gets there, he's ready for it to be a quirk or not. And it's the same doctor, and he says, I don't know how, but I don't understand this, miss. We've done all the tests, and he's supposed to not have a quirk. And remember, and right now, Izuku and this girl are the only ones that have these exact features, with scales and the wings and horns. Right now, Izuku's wings, his horns are a quarter of the way there to their full size. And Izuku's wings are 2 times bigger. Eventually, and the doctor says, I don't know how, but I don't know how he even has these features. He doesn't even have a quirk. And I'm sorry to do this, but I'm gonna make Inko a little bit of a lot meaner person. And when she hears this, she calmly says, but in her mind, she's just like immediately thinks that Zuko is a monster, a creature, and says, "Thank you, Doctor. Zuko, let's leave." And Zuko goes like, "Okay, ma'am." And Zuko just feels something you don't telling him. We're gonna have his mind, something in his mind is telling him we're gonna have a bad time. If you get that reference, points to you. Anyway, we get to when they get home and Zuko Inko just after a few as soon as they get home, Zuko Inko does a complete 180, and from being nice to being cruel to her child. And Zuko just and we skip a year later, and Zuko just and in this year he's been abused by his wings have been pulled on his horns, and Bakugo, not really knowing what this is, still bullies him because, in their eyes, he's a freak. Pretty much in everybody's eyes, he's a freak, except some people in this world. And then Zuko, Bakugo bullies him pretty much the same way, but not with the Korkos crap. Just replaces freak in it. Just replaces Korkos with freak, and you got it. And he just throws twice as many explosions, throws explosions at him, which for this Zuko is immune to is resistant to most elemental attacks, but explosions isn't really element can't really be resisted at this moment right now. But for a year, Zuko's starting to get a resistance to it. Just like that, he has like a 50% resistance to all the elements. But with explosions, he has a 10% resistance to it. So, yeah, he's starting to get a resistance to it. Since no dragons are used to explosions, they haven't adapted to them. So, yeah, there is no way that he would even have any resistance to them at the beginning. And Izuku just goes like, you abandoned me. And Bakugo goes like, because you're a freak. And then Izuku just goes like, I am not a freak. And he basically yells it but he does not know how to roar like a dragon yet. He won't be able to do that for until he's 5. Now when he gets to when he's 5, he's had enough of the abuse and the bullying, and he runs away. He waits for night, and he runs away. And he runs to that forest. And the girl has made a cabin there because she knew how to make a cabin or anything with wood. She was really good at it too. And Zuko just runs into those woods. And he feels his blood pumping a little bit faster. And he feels like, why is my blood pumping faster? He doesn't know what's going on, so he just continues running deeper into the woods. And this girl sees him and goes like, feels her blood going faster. And she goes like, he's in the woods. And Ziku's, between those years, Ziku's horns has been, like, tiny pieces of his horns have blasted off because of those explosions. And we get to when Zuko finally gets to, he keeps running into the woods. Then he sees a cabin. And he goes like, maybe someone's there. And his blood is pumping very fast now. And her blood is pumping very fast now. And when Zuki knocks on the door of the cabin, she opens it, and Zuki just sees someone that looks exactly like him. Well, looks like him, but has black hair and kind of like a female, a black hair female version of him, but without freckles, and has red eyes that has red dragon eyes. And Zuko goes like, hi. And she goes like, come in. You Must be lost. Yeah, come in. And Izuku comes in. And Izuku goes like, thank you. And then she just sees all the part, like, his sound the chipped, like, his broken horns, which only have a few pieces of the horns blasted off, and a little and tiny holes in one tiny hole in both wings. And she asks, "What happened to you?" And he just, as soon as he gets 5 steps in there, he passes out. And she catches him and goes like, "What happened? What has happened to you?" And she lays him on the couch that she has made out of animal fur, which has wool in it. And we get to a little bit later when Izuku wakes up and goes like, yeah. And she goes to him and asks, "Are you alright?" And he goes like, fine. Just go away. Sorry, still. Tisdale. Katsura Tisdale. Katsura Tisdale. Got it. And she's like, what happened to you? I know you just passed out, but seriously, what happened to you? Your ones are messed up and your wings have a tiny hole in them. And Ezekiel just ask her, who are you? And she goes like, I'm Katsura Tisdale. You? And he goes like, Ezekiel Midori. And when Ezekiel just sees her wings, he thinks they're beautiful. And Ezekiel tries to get up, but immediately falls into her arms. Because he's pretty weak right now. Because of all that stuff that happened to him. And Katsura goes like, you need to... Well there. You're still weakened from whatever happened to you. Now, sorry about that pause. Anyway, we get to Katsura saying, do you know what you are? And she was like, no. People call me a freak though. And Katsura goes like, basically slaps her hands on his cheeks and goes like, you are a beauty. And he just blushes from that. And then she continues as she basically tells him the history of their lines. Both his and hers. And Izuku is just glimmering with excitement. But also kind of sadness. Because at the very end, she told her whatever happened to her parents. And she could be like, oh man, that must have been sad. And Katsura goes like, it was, but how about your life? And he basically tells her what happened to him. And she gets mad. Like, you can tell she's mad. And she just hugs him tight. And goes like, no one should ever hurt you. And feeling this kindness, something just happens. And Zuki just goes like, anyway, what are we gonna do now, since I really don't want to go back there? And Katsura goes like, easy, you're staying with me. And he goes like, and Izuku goes like, wait, what? And Katsura goes like, well, until I'm gonna be helping you with I'm gonna help teach you what we can do. And Izuku just hugs her and says thank you. And it's Haxor just fluffs his hair and says, "You're welcome, Izuku." And this ship is going to be a Kaksora, Tail, and Izuku Midoriya. So, yeah, even if you wanted to make a ship for this one, you can't. Anyway, we get to Izuku going like, so, do you think, what should we do now? And she goes like, well, we should get some sleep before tomorrow. And he goes like, okay. And he goes to and they both go to sleep. And Izuku just pretty much has a nightmare. And Katsura hears him crying a little bit, and she picks him up and comforts him, and it calms him down. And something just out of the blue, out of some blue aura, just a blue and red aura flows around him calmly, and we see something in the sky, in the space, far away in space, light years away, coming straight for Earth, and it kind of looks like and it looks like a sword. And it's coming straight for Earth. Now we get to 2 years later, and Izuku knows most things about his kind, with him getting a very good relationship with Katsura. And they play around with each other because there's still kids here. Then we hear then Izuku just sees something in the sky coming straight for them, and he goes like, "Katsura, look out!" And he pushes, and he tackles her so that whatever's coming after them can't get them, and when it lands the ground, it does a kaboom. But it's only loud enough for to scare birds in that forest. And Katsura and Izuku pretty much say at the same time, "What the heck was that?" And they look at each other and laugh and blush at the same time. And Izuku just grabs his head because he hears something in his head and goes like, and Katsura goes like, "Izuku, are you okay?" And he goes like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just feel something calling out to me." Then the sword starts to light up blue and red. And Katsura goes like, "It looks like your aura. Maybe that's what's calling you." sword, whoever that is. And Izuku just goes like, maybe, and he goes up to it. And pretty much the sword is glowing brighter each time he gets closer, and when Izuku grabs the hilt, like from Izuku's point of view, there's a big dragon in ghost form. Like a ghostly, a see-through dragon. Which will look like will pretty much the dragon will look like this. A mighty dragon, which was the first of his line of dragons. Well, no, it would be the last one that completely looked like a dragon. The last of his bloodline that looked completely like a dragon. And this dragon's name was Morgana. And this dragon was a female, so yeah. Morgana went like, Ezekiel, you may not know me, but I know you. You are you are the last one in my bloodline. And I've made this sword just for this occasion, just for when this would come. And this is what this sword looks like. And Morgana goes like, well, before she could continue, at this moment, Kazura could not see Morgana, so she went to touch Izuku's sword and asked, well, he's seeing it. Then she sees it and goes like, Morgana? And Morgana goes like, ah, you know me. This is good. Now I won't have to introduce myself to you as well. To myself as well. To introduce myself to you as well. Karazora. And she goes like, how powerful was our bloodline? And Morgana goes like, our bloodline is very powerful. We are one of the most powerful dragons of all time. You being the last one of our kind is the strongest of all of us. You just need to learn how to use your powers to be able to become the strongest of all of us. And Izuku is able to breathe all the elements. And if he trains enough, he can breathe all of them at once. And she goes like, now, this sword now belongs to you. The name of it is Morgana. It is now a part of you. And Izuku goes like, thank you, Morgana. And she goes like, it is my pleasure, little one. Now, I will become one with Morgana, the sword Morgana, so I can always guide you. I will always help you and Karazora as much as I can. And before Morgana goes into the sword, Izuku asks, is there a way to make another one like this? And Morgana goes like, there is, but you're gonna need a lot of power to do it. And he asked, does Karazora have enough power to do it? And she goes like, yeah, she does. And she's the most powerful of her line as well. And you have 10 times as much power as her, but you don't know how to use it yet. At least not to its full extent. And Ichigo goes like, what do you mean? Well, you can... Well, young one, you can... If you can control 100% of your power, you can easily become a full-on dragon. Take your dragon form. Or just hide, or just make it look like you're just a normal human, which would have a quirk, as they call it these days. And then she goes like, okay. Then Morgana goes into the sword. Then we go like, and Morgana goes like, can you hear me, little one? And she goes like, yes. And Morgana, since she linked with Zuku's mind, she saw everything that, well, he's been through, and she goes like, you have been through much, little one, but fear not. For me and Karazora, I'm here to guide you on a path that will not bring you to many sins, or is the right path. And Zuko goes like, okay, what should I tell you? For short. And she goes like, you can just call me grandmother for now, since I technically am. And he goes like, okay. And Kazuora goes like, so. And Shiku asks, are you gonna be able to help me with swords? And Kazuora goes like, I know a little bit about swords, not that myself. Well, I know most things about swords, but I don't know everything about swords, so I can teach you as much as I can. And Shiku just gives her a hug and says, thank you. Thanks, you guys, alright? And she blushes. And she goes like, of course Izuku. And Izuku is just blushing red. Like, he is deep red. And Kazuora goes like, now we get to a year later. And Izuku is 8 now. And Izuku was training with Kazuora and Morgana and Izuku just and sorry about that little bit of a pause, and Morgana goes like, young child, you have progress as well. And Izuku goes like, thank you, grandmother. And she goes like, it is my pleasure, little one. Now, we should get some rest. And Jiku just lays on Kazuo's shoulder and goes like, we've really been doing it for a long time, haven't we? And Kazuo goes like, yes we have. Jiku, yes we have. And Jiku says, I have a question. And Izuku, then Kazuo goes like, yes, Izuku? You have a crush on me? And Kazuo just goes deep red and goes like, what made you think that? embarrassing tone. Then Shiku says, "Your heart beats faster when I'm closer to you?" And Taxara goes like, "Oh yeah. Oops, I forget that we can hear better than we can hear that we can hear heartbeats." I forgot about that. And Taxara goes like, "Yes, I do. Do you have one on me?" She asks curiously, and he says, "Yes." And then he just immediately says, after, in a very, just says it really quickly, pretty much says, "Would you like to be my beloved?" And it goes, it's right, well, pretty much gets ready for her to say yes or no, and she says yes, and Izzy just hugs her immediately. And accidentally tackles her to the ground. And Katsura goes like, "Eep!" And she goes like, sorry. And Katsura goes like, it's fine, Izuku. You just need to be more careful, that's all. And Izuku goes like, okay. So... yeah. And Izuku just gives her a kiss on the cheek, and she just blushes. And now we get to Izuku and Kazura when they're around the age where you would by the time Izuku and Kazura are able to go to this school, to a high school, or to UA, and Izuku was like, so are we going to a hero school, or are we just gonna do vigilante work? And Kazura goes like, for right now, I think it's best for us to do vigilante work. And at this moment, and Morgana goes like, I agree with Kazura. And she goes like, I think you're right. And she goes like, okay, so when are we gonna start? And they go like, we're gonna be starting tomorrow. And then we get to them a year later, And Izuku just goes like, okay, we got experience. I think it would be best to do the entrance exam now. And just telling you guys now, Izuku is like a year or two older than everybody else. So yeah. Now we get to them going to the entrance exam because I'm pretty sure entrance exams are happen every year. And Izuku was like, okay, so that was, and Izuku pretty much, okay, actually let's just say that they didn't have an entrance exam the previous year, and now they do have them. Now Izuku and Katsura are able to hide their wings and horns, but they don't feel like doing it. Izuku only barely hides his horns, and for his wings, they have healed. So now we get to Izuku and Kazuo, and okay, Izuku and Kazuo get first and second in the theory exam because they are crazy smart. They even corrected Nezu on some of the things. Then we get to President Mike talking about the 1, 2, 3 pointer robots. Then before he could talk about the 0 pointer, he does his thing and tries to point out those Kazuo and Izuku, but he can't find it. Well, he tries. Well, he can't point out anyone because Izuku doesn't mumble, and Kazuo doesn't do the same thing, and they don't even stand out. And Bakugo does not remember Izuku because he's only hasn't seen him for how long now? Well, he barely remembers him. The moment he's gonna hear his full name, he's gonna go like, he's pretty much gonna go like, thank you! That's pretty much what he's gonna do. So anyway, back to the story. Izuku and Kazuo at the same time say like, if he would have let the man finish, he would have said that. You idiot. Now sit down and let him finish. And Person Mike goes like, thank you, you two. You two are right. I would have said it. You don't be feeling down on himself, just sits back down. And he finished talking about the robots, and we get to both of them going. And Izuku and Kazuo are in the same block. And Izuku is like, Kazuo, you ready? And she goes like, alright, yeah. And they both walk up to the front, and Arago is a little bit nervous, and Kazuo says, pretty much calms Arago down. Araka goes like, thank you. And she goes like, Kazura. She goes like, that's a weird name, but okay. Then, when the doors start opening, Izuku and Kazura immediately unleash their wings and horns and fly. And pretty much everyone goes like, hey, they're cheating. And President Mike goes like, no, there's no real timer for a real battle. Go. And they start getting points. Izuku and Kazura gain the most amount of points. Then 0 point happens. Araka gets saved by Kazura and Izuku. And Izuku just breathes out all the elements into one blast. And destroys the 0 pointer. And that's the end of the exam. And before they can leave, some of the, like, Nezu asked for them to come talk to him for a moment, and they do, and Nezu goes like, we don't have your location, we don't have where your home is, so would you give us any location? And they do. And they go like, thank you very much. Then they go back home to the cabin. And that's where I'm going to end it off there. So, tell me how you guys think of this. Give me if you want this thing to continue, give me more than 1 like on this video. Anyway, this has been... Anyway, if you guys want more, give me more than 1 like for this video, and if you want to see more, subscribe as well. Anyway, peace.